A very good morning to everyone. I hope you all are hale and hearty. I, Jyoti, welcome you all to our KP online classes, and today we will be discussing the story of our lesson 8 of our Mormon's book, and the name of our lesson is A House is Not a Home, and the story is written by Zan Godioso. It is written by Zan Godioso, and she is California based. Clear? She is based in California. So everyone, I hope you have read your chapter as it was given to you in the homework. So I'll take up the introduction of the chapter and then I'll discuss the story with you. So this introduction says, this story reflects the challenges of being a teenager and the problems of growing up. Here we got two things. Teenager, and here also it is also mentioned problems of growing up. These things, these points I'll be taking after the discussion of the story. How does the author overcome his problems? So here in the story we will be discussing how the author overcomes the problems. Now one more thing I would like to tell you, as Zan is a female, but here we are talking about the narrator of the story. The story has been written in first person point of view. It is written first person point of view we will be getting in the story. That means we will be getting I will be used in the story. But as I've told you, our author is female, but we will consider the narrator to be a male, as in our book, as in the very introduction it is mentioned his problems. Also in the exercise questions we will be getting the pronoun he instead of she. So we will be considering our narrator to be a male. Clear? So that means Zan herself is not the character in the story. Clear everyone? So let's start with the story. This story talks about the change. I'll be taking themes and titles side by side. Clear? So you have to keep a pen in your hand and your notebook ready so that you can note down the important points. I will be taking all the things together. Clear everyone? So let's start. So in this story we are getting a narrator. As I told you, we are getting first person point of view. In that we are told that our narrator has just entered his high school. Now as you have, your school is senior secondary school. That means the students of class nursery to 12th are all together in one school. But what happened earlier? There were separate schools. Till 8th class there were separate schools. Then till 9 to 12 there were separate schools. So now our narrator is entering his high school. That means he will have to change the school obviously. If the school is till 8th only and he has to enter the class 9, obviously he will have to change the school. Now first problem, what comes the first problem? I told you problems. Teenager means our author has grown up. He has entered his 9th class, or we can say he has entered his high school. Clear? So here we get change. Change is the, now what sort of change is the? Notice that here if you are in 8th class and your school is still 8, means the highest class in your school is 8. That means you are the member of the senior most class of the school. Obviously you become a senior. But when you will enter high school, where 9th class is the lowest class, is the youngest class. That means earlier you were senior in your previous school, but in your new school, in the high school, where the very first class is your 9th class, there you will become a junior. So the change that we get over here is of from a senior to a junior. So the first problem that the narrator faced was the change from being a senior to being a junior. Clear? Now, second thing that comes, the high school. That means his previous school obviously had some memories attached. He had some memories in his previous school. So over there he had his friends, he had his teachers, he had a connection, a bond that he cherished. Now he has to leave all the things behind as his friends were sent to different schools and the narrator is sent to one different school. So there the narrator is unknown. He is a stranger to all those in the school. There comes the second problem. How to befriend people, how to talk with them, as he is new to them, so he has no friends. So we get two problems over here. Clear? So here we are told that the narrator says, I miss my school a lot. So the narrator often goes to visit his previous school and there the teachers motivate him. They say that talk with your new friends, make new friends, talk with your classmates, and we are sure you will be able to develop a bond with them as well and you will do good in your studies. And they, in a way of, we can say, just to cheer him up, in a mood of liveliness, they also say that don't forget us. Do visit us also, even if you have made friends in that school. Don't forget us, as you are also important for us. So the narrator thinks over what his teachers has told and he makes up his mind that he will study. Now what happens one day, after coming from school, the narrator is sitting on the dining table. I hope everyone knows dining table, a table where the family members sit and they have their meals. So the narrator is sitting on the dining table, he is doing his homework and his red cat, he is having a cat. She is red in color. So the cat was lazily, she was lying on the papers and she was trying to grab the attention of the narrator. She was playing with the papers or she was trying to get hold of his pen. So she was in a mood to enjoy with the narrator. Now the narrator also tells us that the weather was cold, and as it was cold, there was fireplace and fire was ignited in that fireplace and his mother was checking it again and again whether the fire is still there or it has diffused. It has blown out. So the mother was checking it. She was igniting the fire again and again so as to keep the room warm as it was winters. Great. Now what happens? The narrator suddenly smells something burning. He smells something burning and when he looks here and there, he sees up and he finds that the ceiling, there is smoke coming out of the ceiling. And all of a sudden he calls his mother and they ran out. They came to the yard, that is in the garden we can say. They came to the garden and they checked what has happened and they saw that the roof of the home has been engulfed by the fire. That means fire, the roof has got fire on it. Not even a single place was left where the fire was not there on the roof. So it was dangerous for them. Now what happened? He ran out to call out, to shout that please call the firemen so that the fire can be diffused. Now before he can call out, he notices that already there are vans and firemen are already there who have come to diffuse the fire, to blow out the fire, to help them rescue. Now when he does this, he notices that his mother has gone inside. Clear? The house was on fire and his mother has gone inside. And seeing this, he shouts that mom please stop, and he runs behind her. But the fireman gets hold of the narrator, means they hold his hand. They didn't allow him to go behind his mother, and they tells that don't worry, we will get your mother out safely. We will rescue her. Now his mother has gone inside to collect the important papers. In papers like mark sheets, degrees, or important papers without which their survival might not be possible. She gets them. Now again she goes. And this time she goes to bring the photographs of the narrator's father who has passed in his childhood. Means his father has died when the narrator was a child. But this time what happens, when she has gone inside, there was smoke all around. So in the process of inhaling oxygen, the smoke is also inhaled, and because of the smoke, his mother faints. But the fireman has obviously gone behind her, so they wrap a blanket around her and they rescue her. They bring her out. Now a question arises. Why is the blanket worn around? Why is the blanket worn around the mother? The reason is so as to keep her away from the fire. Even if she comes in contact of the fire, the blanket is worn wrapped around her so that her clothes, her body don't catch fire. Clear? So blanket is there as a barrier between the fire. The blanket is a barrier between the fire and the mother. Clear? So she is brought out, and when the narrator sees that his mother has fainted, so he asks the fireman what has happened. He tells her that nothing much, it's just that she has inhaled some smoke and so she has fainted. Now they provide oxygen mask to the mother so that she can revive. And she revives, and they are made to sit in their car as the process of blowing out the fire from the house is still going on. Clear? Now the author tells that it took them 5 hours to blow out the fire completely. Clear? Now what happens? The author tells us that, the narrator tells us that there was nowhere to go. So they headed towards his grandparents' house. They headed means moved towards. They moved towards his grandparents' house so as to live for a night. Now they had nothing with them. Clothes have been burnt in the fire. All that they had, they were left with nothing but only the documents, the metal box of documents that his mother has rescued from the fire. Now they had to obviously search for a place where they can live. So now what they do? They borrow some money from the narrator's mother borrows some money from the narrator's grandparents, and with those monies they buy clothes, the necessities that they need to survive, and they also rented a house. Now next day we are told that the narrator was not willing to go to school, and he asked his mother what's the need of going, but his mother was not ready to hear even a single excuse. So she sent him to school. Now the narrator tells us that he was in his dress of church. The previous day he has gone to church and he was still in that dress because he had no more clothes. Clear? The clothes were bought in the evening after coming from school with the money borrowed from his grandparents. So in the morning he had to go with the same. And also his shoes were not there. They had also burnt in the fire. So the narrator borrowed tennis shoes from the aunt. Clear? So without books, without anything, he goes to the school. There he really feels embarrassed. Earlier he had no friends even. So he is feeling really embarrassed. He is thinking that there can be nothing good in his life. How will he overcome all these? So although these negative thoughts are still going on his mind. Now while coming back from school, he notices that the house was really in rubble, means there was waste all around. The things that were saved from the fire, things that fire can't destroy, were destroyed by the chemical and water that was sprayed on the house to diffuse, to put off the fire. So he finds that there is nothing remaining. Now what happens, after a few days, the narrator tells that news spread very fast. Obviously, if you are telling one thing to one person, the person will tell it to two more, the two will again tell it to others, means a chain gets formed. So the narrator tells that the news that our house has caught fire spread in the school as well. And when the narrator was in the locker room getting ready for the gym, there came many students and they were trying to get his attention. They were calling him to come somewhere, and he feels as if they are shooing him, as if they are pushing him, as if they are telling him that you have to go to the gym, and they are not liking him because he can't get anything good in his head. Everything that was happening was giving him a negative impact, as everything was going bad. Now what happens when the narrator goes there, he finds that on a table there are many things. His school dress, books, notebooks, night suits and toys. Many things were there that the author needed, and those things were collected by the students of that school. And that day he felt very touched, very overwhelmed. He really felt that people were really nice to him, and he also made few friends that day. Clear? Now we are told further that after around a month, the narrator is there in front of the house with two of his new friends, and he's telling that they are planning how his new room should be, as the house is under construction, and they are planning. Now he has all this while he has missed his cat. Right after they were rescued from the house, when he was sitting in the car, he remembers that his cat is nowhere to be seen. So he really feels sad. He has been all the while missing the cat, but he can't find it anywhere. But that day when they were planning for his room, suddenly someone calls from back, "Is this your cat?" Now the narrator tells us that around his cat's neck, they have wrapped a slip on which the number of the narrator's family has been written. But in fire, the telephones and the phones have also been destroyed, so they couldn't be contacted earlier. But the lady has taken good care of the cat, and she has somehow worked hard to know about the whereabouts of the family of the cat. Yeah? So he really thanks her that it was really nice of her. She probably knew that the narrator, and the other family of the cat would be missing her. So it was really nice of her to bring her back to him. So the narrator tells us that there was everything, that things were getting very good. He made friends. He was now enjoying his new life. So probably all his problems has been finished. Clear? And he has also felt gratitude towards life, because fire has taught him many things. Now let's come to the title as well. I'll link the things now. We have been told of fire. Fire burnt everything. We are told clothes, toys, money, everything was burnt by the fire. Now comes the difference between a house and a home. House is a room, we can say, where walls are there, ceiling is there. But home is made by memories, by feeling. If a family is living in a room and they are happily living, they are making memories, they are enjoying company of each other, then a house becomes a home. Clear? So we are told that though the house was burnt in fire. Why I am saying house? Because the memories that the author has made in that house were still alive in his heart and mind. they can still recall those memories. Not only he, but his mother could also recall all those memories. So we can say that the fire has burned the house, but the fire can't burn the home, because home is made by memories. Clear? Another thing, the fire has also taught the narrator that anything can happen in life. Within a turn of seconds, things can be completely changed. Earlier, the author was angry with his mother. He was very disturbed as he had no new friends. But when he saw his mother enter the house, he became really very scared, because he had the idea of losing his mother. At that very time, he valued life and his mother as well. So the fire helped develop gratitude in the narrator. The fire helped develop the feeling of gratitude. Gratitude means thankfulness. Whatever is happening, whether be it good, whether it be bad, just be thankful for it. Because whatever is happening will always turn out to be a lesson for you in the times to come. So we should learn from all the things that are happening to us or around us. Clear? The second thing is of change. What change occurred? After the house caught fire, things took a complete change. Change obviously goes on in the teenage life. I told you about the teenage life. The narrator changed from previous school to the high school, from becoming a senior to again a junior. Now change was that earlier they lived happily in their house. The author didn't value what he had. But after the fire, when everything was lost, the narrator developed the gratitude, and he also started valuing each and every thing. Clear? So all these things are included in our theme. Theme will include teenage life, the change that a person has to undergo, and problems. There are many problems, but if you will focus on the problem itself, you won't be able to see the solution of it. So apart from focusing on the problem, we should see what is around us and we should value that. We should not cry for what we are not having. Rather, we should be thankful for what we already have. Clear? So I hope the theme, the title and the message that we have got and the story itself is clear to each and every one. But if still there is some confusion in your mind, so you are left with, again you should go for a reading of the chapter. Clear? So that was all from my side. Take care everyone. See you in the next class. Thank you.